Hello, friends. Welcome to today's 10-minute yoga session. We are going to focus on folding forward and with the glutes and the low back being at the forefront. I want to explain that quickly just for a sec here. When we fold forward, a lot of people who have a sore low back, to try and relieve pressure, relieve tension, they tend to want to do this. Rounding through your spine, tucking your pelvis, and hanging here. And what we're going to talk about is creating a nice, proper position to where we learn how to fold over the creases of our hips. We hinge forward. We maximize the stretch on the glutes. We support the low back. Okay? Folding forward is not really about your low back at all. It's about relieving tension, tiredness, stress, and pain, yes. But the muscles that we need to target to release that pull are the glutes. They're the hamstrings, they're the backs of your knees, they're your calf muscles, they're even the bottoms of your feet. So folding forward is not to be thought of as a simple, mindless activity. It's very important. So we're going to go through that. Since many of you are practicing from home, I want you to notice my very intentionally placed old ottoman that I just found over in the corner of our basement, and I'm going to use this. So if you have something similar that you can use, the footstool from a recliner or from a chair set, even have a coffee table close by, have something that allows you to be slightly elevated here for the first variation of our forward fold. Okay, if you don't have anything, that's okay. I'm going to show you how we can place the hands to our legs. But if you do have something, then that's just bonus. So let's start by coming into a nice upright position, hands to your hips, and feet directly underneath of your shoulders. So I want you to lift and spread your toes. I mentioned the bottoms of our feet quickly. The feet are the foundation of our forward fold. They're not to be ignored. They're something actually to be really focused on, really intentional about placing. Think about lifting and spreading your toes. So can you lift your toes? Can you fan your toes and create some space? Can you find all four corners of each foot? So just in your mind, kind of shift your weight inwards. Find that inner edge. So find the mound of your big toe, the inside of your heel, and then draw your feet apart. Roll slightly to your out step, that outside edge, and find the mound of your baby toe and that outside edge of your heel, and then place all 4 points down to the floor. You should feel grounded and rooted. And I like to explain standing tall as if you were trying to jump up and out of cement boots. We can't move, but from the ankle joint up through the knees, through the quads, the hips, the belly, the diaphragm, everything up towards the ceiling, including the crown of your head. Hands to your hips and slide them down. So find this front pocket space. Find the exact points of your hips. Some of you can feel them. This is where we're going to fold. So I want you just to bend your knees a little bit and start to drop your chest forward. Keep your gaze forward. Pause when you find your resistance point. I've found it already. It doesn't take long to find. From the knees up the hamstring muscles, up towards your sit bones, is the most under tension here. So just breathe into that. Keep your back really nice and strong, and then come back up. Good job. Give your legs a little shake, a little reset. Okay, so this is where we want to use our object of height. Stand back from it slightly. Feet coming into that really intentional setup again. So take your time here. Lift and spread your toes. Ground your feet into the floor. Stand up and out of that space. Upward connection of energy through our body, hands to our hips. Start to drop your chest forward. Pause at 2 o'clock. So if my head was coming down, we're at a 2 o'clock angle. And I'm going to reinforce in my body, lifting my hamstrings. So lifting from the backs of my knees up through my sit bones, and just keep dropping your chest. See if you can come parallel. Imagine you're creating the letter L with your body, or the number 7. And then let's take our hands to our stool, our block, our chair. Nice and gently, start to bend one knee at a time. And as we straighten that opposite leg, be really intentional about pulling your knee back. So we're relieving the tension on one side. We're enhancing the stretch on that opposite leg. Breathe, you guys. Once more. Good job. Bend both knees. Slide your hands back to your hips. Look forward and squeeze your muscles towards your spine. So activate that posterior chain. Use your glutes, in other words, to stand. Give your legs a total reset. So you'll notice quite quickly, as we go through this, it's slow and it's by design. We are trying our best to keep that low back supported to stretch the glutes. And that in turn, as we get more limber and more supple through our upper legs, is going to release some of that pull that tugs our low back. So the back, as I mentioned in the opening, is not necessarily what we're looking to stretch. It's what we're looking to support. We're going to come down here again. We'll come a little quicker this time. So folding forward, hinging at the hips. Okay. If you need your hands to your legs, if you don't have that item in front of you or you don't want to use it, just let your hands slide down. Pause. Pause at maybe 75% of your maximum range. Reinforce the upper legs. Pull your knees back. Lift up from your knees to your sit bones. Drop your chest down. Relax your head this time. So look back towards your knees. You could close your eyes. Feel in your body as if you're folding directly in half. You're folding like a Barbie doll. Deep stretch. Take one more breath. Bend your knees. Slide your hands up and squeeze towards your spine. Use that backside to stand nice and strong. Again, total reset. So move your legs around, shake them out. As you fold forward, especially for those of you who are very tight, who don't stretch often, or maybe you're like me, I honestly am the most unnaturally flexible person. I have to work very hard at keeping myself limber. And so if you shake it all during this, if your legs feel shaky, if your quads feel weak or your knees feel weak, that's totally normal. Just stick with the intention, stick with the correctness of what we're talking ourselves through. So let's bring our feet closer together this time. All the way so that inside edge touches, but we're still being really intentional about standing tall, drawing all our energy up and being very grounded through the base, being our feet. Keep your legs straight if you can, okay? There's always the option to bend your knees. I never correct people with bent knees in a forward fold until you get to the point that you're able to fold over your hips, okay? So let me just show as an example, if we were to come all the way down here and you needed this angle in your knees, that's okay, as long as you're lifting from the sit bones and folding over your crease. Pull your knees back. That's where we need to work at straightening the legs. And rather than reaching down and thinking about, trying to find the floor, up with our energy. So up the backside of your legs, up through your pelvis and your sit bones. Breathe. Should be a deep stretch. Sometimes you'll feel some tingling all the way down. The sciatic nerve might be a little at play here. Everybody bend your knees, please. Now this time, let's totally disengage our back and we're going to curl and stack our spine. So let your arms stay super heavy, your shoulders, anchor your tailbone, and then try to put each vertebrae on top of the other until you have arrived back up in this nice tall stance. Beautiful job. So we're going to do two little variations here. And I always suggest starting with your feet wider than you think. Master folding with your feet farther apart as we started before you worry too much about bringing your feet together. So when your feet are together, we're at our maximum range of motion here. That is where it's the most difficult, let's say. As we take our feet wider, we lessen the angle, we lessen the tension up the backs of the legs a little bit. So stand comfortably. Balance is at play here as well. So if you're somebody who tends to be a little insecure about whether or not your balance is there, if you're going to be able to stand strong, again, just step your feet apart. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay. So you guys pick. We're going to fold hands to the hips, fold over the creases, come down as low as you can. And so if you do not get to the floor, that's okay. That's totally fine. It takes years for some people. Some people never touch the floor. Have your hands wherever they land, so to your shins, to the tops of your thighs, but still think about that length and that opening across your sacral spine, so your low back. Should be a deep stretch. We are going to bend one knee. So I want you to bend your left knee. Keep your right leg super straight. And just walk your hands over towards the left foot. So kind of frame that left foot a little more. This will wrap around on your right leg to the outside of your knee. Okay, so it's a great way to loosen up some of that connection, especially those of you who have old injuries. Straighten both legs, come to center. Bend your right knee. Keep your left leg super zipped, super straight. Couple of deep breaths. Come back to the center. Slide your hands up to your hips here. Squeeze towards your spine. Push your bum back. Walk your eyes forward. Roll your shoulder blades towards your back pockets. Come to standing. Beautiful. We are going to finish off here just quickly with a cross-legged position. And so you might want to use the wall a little bit. You can be close to a wall if you need to be. Again, think about your balance. So I want you to stand on your right foot. Left leg is going to wrap around behind. And rather than going forward, we go back on purpose. So we want to open across the front points of our hips, and you want to create like a pie shape through your pelvis. So you feel like your sit bones are drawing together and the points of your hips are tracking like the shape of a pie piece. Okay, hands to your hips, fold forward. Now, in this one, keep your legs very energetically together. So squeeze your legs together. You can bend your knees as much as you need to and just relax into this. If your balance feels good, reach for the back ankle. Squeeze. And rather than a strong spine, we will practice that ragdoll stack. So allow your arms to be heavy. Squeeze your legs together. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. That'll keep you very stabilized. Come all the way back up to the top. Okay, uncross. Now step your opposite foot back. Again, the movement is back. It helps us to pull our hips around to create that pie shape. If I step forward, it's very difficult then for me to remaneuver and get my sit bones and my pelvis together. We've kind of pulled our hip to the front. We want to wrap our hip around the back. Hands to hips, fold forward. This is our last one, everybody. You are doing a great job. Keep squeezing your legs towards each other as straight as you can, but don't worry about bent knees. Like I say, keep the energy in the pose, keep the intention of lifting your sit bones, squeezing your legs together. You could reach for your back ankle. And just reflect for a moment. Our low back has stayed very supported here. Ragdoll yourself all the way up. Great job. And there you have it. There's just some options, some ideas for practicing really proper forward fold that helps to support our low back, that sacral spine, that SL connection, so low lumbar, top of your sacrum, where the spine starts to move in opposite curvatures. So that's just a really good way to start to get some of that muscle tension away from the pelvis and open up across the back of your hips, your glutes, your low back. So take care, everybody. Namaste. See you soon.